Hello, my name is Mark, and I'm an admissions counselor here. And
Hi, my name is Kane McLean. I'm admissions counselor here. So welcome to the College Context Podcast. Today we're talking about parents helping decide either going to public or private Christian university.
All right, awesome. Well, we have Terry and Paul Sunderland here, and I understand that you guys have some students here as well. And so we wanted to thank you for coming on this podcast and being able to give us kind of a unique, experience of what it's like to have, children in college. Thank you guys for coming out. But before we start, what is the most interesting thing you've eaten?
So what comes to mind to me, we took a trip to Hawaii and I had octopus soup. And it was good too. It was really good, but it was interesting.
All right. I had one time I had squid, and it was at a buffet, so I don't think we had the same experience.
Mine was not from the buffet.
And for you?
I'm like leery about weird stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I remember once though, he had turtle soup, and I think I took a bite of that. Oh, I did.
Mine.
I did.
I don't know.
And I did like taste a frog leg once. And that was
not
all.
that
It's
weird.
just like chicken. And it's like mini chicken, like with very little meat on it. So that's
Really?
about it.
I think the weird thing for me would have to be like alligator.
Oh
Did
yeah,
you?
Yeah.
Florida.
Down
Right.
south in Alabama
In
with
the
my
South.
parents.
Right.
It was at an old like down shack thing, and I wasn't prepared for this. I was like, yeah, just like chicken. It was nothing like chicken. It had this weird like rubbery taste
Kind of,
to
I would
it.
say rubbery and greasy.
It was different.
Yeah.
Will I eat it again? No, but it was definitely different. It was worth trying, though. I can say that for sure.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Well, I mean, one of the things that we're going to be talking about, today is just kind of, I guess, how you integrate, faith in the college making decision and all things of that nature. But one thing that I do want to highlight, an experience that I had here at Greenville University, and I was a ministry major, and so this is kind of like, something that I'm passionate about. But one thing that I really appreciated was kind of the spiritual diversity that is here. You'll be with, students who aren't necessarily as far along in their walk with Christ, and then you'll be with students who are super passionate about their theology and things like that, and so you also have like mentors, professors, and friends pouring into you all different types of ways. And so that's a benefit that I've seen in my time at Greenville, is being surrounded by so many different types of people from different walks of life, especially speaking spiritually. And then in a ministry perspective, that's always a great thing, because now you're challenged with different approaches and how to apply them after you graduate as well. But what are the benefits in your guys' perspective about picking a Christian university versus not picking a Christian university?
Oh, there are plenty. I think first, my experience attending a private Christian college was simply that I was known, and some of the biggest influences of my life came from that experience at that college, and the biggest mentors of my life. College is a time when you question, you're moving toward adulthood, and you're trying to evaluate what was social Christianity that you got brought up with, going to youth group and stuff, and what your parents taught you, what was inherited Christianity, and you make these decisions for yourself. And to have the different perspectives and the intellectual encouragement from people who know what they're talking about, and then the heartfelt spirituality of those who are walking it along with you is just really powerful. It's a real gift.
Yeah, I'd say I agree with what Terry said, but also it seems like college should be prepping you for the world, but in a way that's doing it as if it's preparing it socially and spiritually. In other words, like, it's not just about the classroom or your degree. It's about the ways that you live life these 4 years. And we think that spirituality should be something that you're not just with people exactly like you, and that there's something powerful to that sense of difference that is for your good. And certainly we believe in that as Christians, that you will be better off when you're around people that don't walk like you and talk like you and come from the same background and experiences. And if you pay attention, you'll learn a lot from those people who are different.
Yes.
Awesome. Do you have kind of something to connect with that?
I mean, going forward, just not being so strong in my faith when I started going to school. Going to a Christian school was a great benefit. I can say that for sure. And the people, not only just being an athlete here, but the professors here at Greenville was like one of the most influential things I had in a long time. Coach Barber here at Greenville, he has prayer saints up there in our locker room, but he's usually just dropped like small gems here and there that really stuck with me.
Yeah.
And I just like still listen to today and just still growing as a person today. And it's great to see, because at this point I didn't think I'd be as far in my faith as I am. Mine, I'm still growing in it, and I'm still learning everything to learn.
Sure.
I'm nowhere near saying I am like, I know a pretty good amount. I don't, but just going forward and just having that opportunity and just getting that chance and hearing from other people just pour into you like that, it's a great thing to have at a small Christian university.
For sure. And I think for me, it was such a breath of fresh air coming from like a public school where teachers aren't allowed to share anything about what they believe. And you come to Greenville and, we'll be praying before a class begins or something like that. That for me was like, I made the right decision as far as schools to go to. But as we've already kind of stated, that Greenville is a place where you'll be with, like Catholics, Protestants, all different types of denominations. Even I do want to mention that we are kind of affiliated with the Free Methodist Church, and so I know that's kind of how we got introduced. It's kind of through the Free Methodist Church. That was the first time I had ever seen you. But what can you kind of give as some information for parents who are sending their children to Greenville, what to expect from our particular kind of point of view as far as that goes?
I mean, my understanding is, rather than getting caught up in Free Methodist, because for many people that's unknown, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It really is. Our experience here isn't that nobody's trying to baptize you into just that particular stream of Christianity or faith. Yeah. But what it is, it's part of a bigger Wesleyan, I would say, stream or group of people within Christianity. And so if you're not familiar with Wesleyan, what that would be is priority on discipleship. The literal mentoring spiritually, as you mentioned, pouring into individuals' real relational spirituality. Huge part of the heritage of being Wesleyan. The huge priority for racial reconciliation and female leadership has huge part of the legacy of what it means to be Wesleyan. And again, for us, that's just attractive. That's something that we value personally, and we certainly want our boys for their future to be influenced and part of. So, and then of course there's other things, but those things, they're kind of standouts for like what would it mean to be part of Free Methodist or Wesleyan.
Awesome.
Understandable. For my next question for you guys would be kind of in the sense of what advice do you give to your kids going into college or trying to pick a Christian college, I should say, deciding whether they want to go to like a public college or going to a Christian college? What are some benefits you think you can give to your son or your daughter, you never know, about what advantages they can have going into this small school like that?
We have a nephew that graduated from Ohio State University, and when he comes for Thanksgiving, he always cannot get over the stuff that the kids have done with professors. One was
and
acting
coaches.
And coaches. They went on a trip to Chicago together. One was in a play with one of them, having coffee with them. My nephew said, these professors, I have not talked personally to one professor in the time that I've been here. And he says, and usually they don't even know if I'm in class. So he said the relationship and the accountability, that's amazing. Just amazing.
I remember once he said, if I had it to do over, I would choose that route of the smaller possible
He
relational
said, I should come here.
He doesn't. He had a good experience, but he just said there's something I missed.
Yeah, for sure, definitely, and that's something that I tell some of the students that I talk to on a daily basis is the benefit of having like a smaller class size is that you're not just another number. Definitely, if you're missing class, you'll be getting an email saying, where are you, and things of that nature. But definitely, I think there's a huge benefit, especially in a Christ-centered education, of being able to know the people that you're going to class with, or the professors being able to know you and in turn be able to help you out better, because college is a time of as you said, discernment, and you're growing in a lot of different ways where you have to question, not in a negative way, but just to know more, grow more, and learn. You have to question things as you go, and so it's always nice to have a structure in which there's people who are mature in their faith, and people who know what you're going through, and people who can relate to you and be able to help you out and pull you along the way, and really kind of just help you grow in that sense.
Awesome. And just having that benefit of having those relationships that you never thought you might have with a professor, or just having that chance to be like, hey, can we get coffee and talk about this? Just lots of big schools, you can't really do that with a
being
professor.
at their house.
Yeah.
That's unthinkable.
That is one I have never seen at a bigger school before, ever. It's just the fact that, all right, we can have we can go get lunch, or we can get coffee or something like that with your professors. That's not really heard often.
Yeah.
And just having that, be able to do that and just go forward and be able to talk to your professor on a one-on-one basis, and just being able to just say hey, I'm really not understanding this. Can you take some time out for me and help me get to know this better? And they will be willing to do that. It's just that extra step that we are willing to go here. I think the professors, I should say, are willing to go here just to help you get over that edge.
Yeah, and so definitely with that being said, of having having so many different voices that kind of influence you as a student. Now, from a parent's perspective, what's kind of the scary thing about that, right? And so how can parents kind of alleviate that anxiety that may come up as you have so many different voices that are speaking into your child and pulling them one direction or another? What kind of things can you say to that experience, where you can maybe help out a parent who's sending their son or daughter to university for the first time?
Scary for the parent or scary for the student?
It's scary for the parent.
I think kids going off to college is very scary for the parents. I think we have a responsibility to let go and to trust God. That is a life of faith, is trusting God not just with our own lives, but with the lives of our children. And I think it has to be a prayerful decision. And so many times we've met students from here who've said it just felt right. And I think the Holy Spirit can enter into that, just when you go and you experience for yourself, you just get a sense of what is right, or what is right for you. But I think just trusting that there are people who care about your child more than just academically, very much academically, but it's more than that. Just kind of gives you a peace as a parent to know that they're in good hands.
We often would tell the boys that somewhere around 15 or 16, you almost stop parenting in the sense of authority. In other words, telling them what they can and can't do. That kind of stops somewhere around 16. And at that point, there's a shift in, I think, the role of parents, that you start to affirm, encourage, you influence, you coach, you spend time with them. And by college, though, it becomes official. That the parenting role is supportive. That you literally are letting them go. The idea that they're staying overnight and they're being with people you don't know, and they're in classes you're not even always aware. All that kind of stuff. There's this sense of faith that you have to trust something beyond your own control. So it's that process when parents can see that, this is good. This is the way it's supposed to be. And then you have an environment like Greenville where you feel like you can trust that.
And you mentioned in that process, both of you guys mentioned that process of when to let go. I see some parents, when we do on our phones, being a mentor's counselor, hear some parents what class is he in? Where's he at now? I'm like, I honestly do not know.
Letting go is tough.
At what point
and let me check if I'm allowed to tell you.
Let me check if I'm even allowed to tell you this anymore.
Right.
And at what point as parents do you stop holding their hand in this whole process of doing this all? Is it during the beginning, let them figure it out? Or is it when they're here on campus? Or is it as second semester? Or, all right, you've been here a whole semester already now.
It's time to fly.
So that makes me think about a vacation we took to New York when the boys were young teenagers. And it was a great time. We did all kind of fun things. But there was one day we took a long walk at this national park. And when we were about an hour into the woods on the trail, it started to downpour to the point where it washed the trail out. Like it was a legitimate storm. Mm-hmm. And it was literally like an adventure to get back. Like we were soaked to the bone. Like it was hard. It was really, really hard for us. And when we got back from the vacation, we said to the boys, well, of all the things we did, what was your favorite? They both immediately said, getting out of that trouble. The four of us together figuring out how to, make it work through the struggle. And there's something to that like it helps so much as a parent to see struggle isn't bad. Mm-hmm. Like, in fact, some of the most important things happen in the struggle. So like when I want to equip my kids with, are you safe? Are you secure? Are you happy? Mm-hmm. And I like insist on that at 17 and 18, there's a point when it's actually working against what's maybe best for them.
Mm-hmm. You just gave us a sermon right
there.
Yeah.
That was a quick one. He had it like a 5-bullet point right there, quickly.
Yeah, that was great. Awesome. Do you have anything?
Just to add on top of that, I know in my process that when I was a student, my dad was like, yeah, you got it. Go ahead. I mean, he said, as long as you're going to graduate on time, that's all that matters to me. I'm like, okay.
Were you the first one to go to college?
No. So actually, my sister went to college first, but she stayed close to home. Mm-hmm. So she went to Robert Morris, went close to home. I was the first one to leave, like, completely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then when they figured it out for me, I was kind of the guinea pig, in a sense. So they had it down packed by my little brother. He ended up going to a bigger school down south.
Okay.
Awesome.
I think during the student orientation, they said, don't let them come home for 3 weeks,
right.
Because, they've got the helicopter parents all over the room that are just like panicked and they're like
texting them on their way to the car.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And here they do this really neat ceremony where it's called the ivy planting,
yes.
And then when they graduate, they do an ivy cutting. Do I have that in the right order?
That's right.
And so there's literally a ceremony where the parent leaves.
Stands on the outer circle.
They stand on the outer circle, and then the kids move in together, and
it's
then they become their own community. So I thought that was just so cool and so symbolic for us as parents, because you're entrusting other people.
And you're with a bunch of parents in the same boat where you're trying to hold it together and your butterflies are going, but you're all there doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely, I think looking back at even my own experience, I think the things that really helped me mature, between freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year, like you said, is sometimes going through the thick of it, right? Not necessarily always having your parents with you and being able to go to them, and you're going to be in situations where you really miss your family. There's a lot of academic pressure. Especially if you play sports, balancing that schedule and having that time management. But at the same time, having people around you who are pouring into you, and I think the underrated kind of group of people is friends. Like you also have friends who are going through the same exact thing, being far away from home. At Greenville, we have over 30 countries represented here, 47 of the 50 states represented here. So it's not just Southern Illinois students. It's, you're with people from
all over.
California, Florida, Texas, you name it. So having those people going through the same exact thing that you're going through, that can really be, something that encourages you along as well.
Absolutely.
So I think as a parent, you can also trust that, your child isn't isolated in that sense. They're not the only one going through that. So I think that's one of the...
So Mark, the sign of that, we watched time and time again through COVID, our boys would see them in their bedroom or the living room on a FaceTime or a Zoom call with a friend. I mean, their connection and insistence to keep that vibrant when they're isolated has been powerful. Like, the relationships are real, because they do spend time with each other. Yeah. It's just on a screen now. But, I think of schools that you only go to class and how different that is, where people are isolated but don't have somebody to turn to. The friends matter.
Yeah, for sure. I remember when I was graduating high school, and my mom was like, the friends that you make in college are going to be even it's going to be much better than the friends that I'm like, what are you talking about? These are my best friends. But for sure, now that I'm graduating, I'm seeing that those connections are going to be long lasting, and it's a lifeline, But I think that pretty much concludes what what we had and wanted to talk about. Is there anything else that you guys think of?
I think the only other topic we thought that's worth mentioning is like, we have one of our boys is artistic and musical, and the other is athletic. So we kind of see both, where they're, as high school students, they were looking at colleges thinking, what do I want? Where do I want to be? And that question of, do you choose a school that's big and impressive, which is good. I mean, there's plenty of good to that. Or would you maybe consider the idea, instead of sitting on the sideline, but saying, I go to such and such school, would you choose a school where you could participate and grow and be an active athlete or musician? All the difference in the world for our boys. They're thrilled with the ways they're connected and involved here. Not to say we have bad programming here either. I don't mean it that way. But, they're not sitting on the sidelines or off the activity for 4 years, which is sometimes the experience.
I want to chime in on that real quick, because I think you hit a nail right there in the coffin, because I think as some parents, they try to push their kids to go to a big school or something like that because of the name or we're around who the people they may know. From my own personal experience, I went to a junior college first back at home that nobody really wanted to go to, but it was like number 2 or 3 in the country for just education, just learning, period. But it has such stigma about it, saying like, if you go here, you're not gonna leave here, you're gonna stick around and just be around all the time. But it didn't stick with me, because it was the fact that I wanted to venture out and branch out. Just like you said, just having that, knowing what part you want to do for yourself and what part you just having to chime in as a parent, saying like, hey, don't do this for you, do what's best for you. Don't think about the outcome of everybody else. What's going to do best for you, and how can you help yourself grow to be the best person you can be.
That's right.
And I definitely think that also speaks to kind of the experiential hands-on learning portion. It's almost like it's in tandem, like it's intentional, as well as it just happens to be that way when you have a smaller community where you can get involved in many more things. So the groups that you have on campus that you can really like dive into, and I believe that those honestly, truly, like once you leave college, rather than just having that degree and being able to say, here's the education that I got, you also get a set of skills by exercising those, being in different, whether it's artistic or sports, or it's like something like student government, any club, whatever it is, you take that into the next workplace that you go to, and you're able to have these experiences with different people trying to accomplish, let's say, a common goal. And I think that's something that lasts a lifetime, those memories and the skills that you get at a university like Greenville. So that kind of concludes what we wanted to talk about. Thank you guys for listening. And just to recap, that was Paul and Terry Sunderland just kind of giving us a perspective from their experience as parents who have sent their children to private, Christian universities. And so hopefully this helps you out, whether you're a parent or an incoming student, as far as what to expect, especially when we're talking about faith and things of those matters. But thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.